Today's little foray into the world of film is a twofold affair. There's a specific piece that I want to talk about, but it's more the thoughts I had watching it, of the style of film it is, and how that fits into the genre at large. But the piece itself is The Secret of Marrowbone, written and directed by Sergio G. Sanchez, starring George McKay, Anya Taylor-Joy, Charlie Heaton, and Mia Goth. And I think it's erroneously marketed as a horror. I saw the trailer whilst watching Hereditary, weirdly enough, considering J.A. Bayona is actually a producer on this film. And because they often like to associate trailers with the film as much as they can, I was expecting something a little more Hereditary-esque, I suppose. Because there was clearly a family in here, and there was something amiss, and there was the weird sheet and all that, there's all this imagery that's making one believe that there might be something kind of horror-esque. But this is perhaps more of a family drama thriller. There's horrific elements that come into play, but for the most part, it's family drama, and there's a few moments of unease. That's kind of perhaps more thriller territory. I might be wrong. If my understanding of genre is completely wrong, correct me respectfully, please, in the comments below. But that's how I read it. And that's, I think, a lot of people's problem with the film. One of the other problems people have with the film is the pacing. It is very slow. It doesn't, run at you with anything. Again, indicative of the style of film, which we will get to, of course, in a moment. But I think it does suffer. One of the big kind of twisty reveal moments, if you will, the big one at the end, I'd figured out earlier. I'm a curse to myself, really, my own worst enemy. I ruin films. But unlike a lot of other films where I've got it, you've got these reminders peppered throughout that keep you on your toes, keep you in that sense of unease, like, I think I figured this out, am I right? I don't want to be right. This was kind of like, oh, by the way, here's a hint, and half an hour will go by, oh, just reminding you it's there. For some, this isn't an issue, but for me, I like that feeling of unease, as a constant thread. Whilst there are other elements in the film that, gave me that unease, that particular thing that was allowed to just sit in the back of my head and be forgotten, it's not something that draws me to a film. I would still say see it if you like this style of film. If this is the kind of thing that, you enjoy, just go in aware that it is quite slow. I read a couple of reviews first of all, not wanting to spoil anything for myself, just spoiler-free reviews like this is, and just allowed myself to just go along with it, and, understood that it wasn't super fast-paced. But I did like it for what it was, and like I say, it prompted another thought. And that was, if you haven't guessed from the title or everything I've been saying so far, the Spanish-led horror film. Now, what does Spanish-led mean? I do include full Spanish productions, written, directed, all the lines are spoken in Spanish, everything about the film is based in Spain or Spanish-speaking countries. Spanish-led in the sense of Hereditary and this film is more a case of, the whole, or much of the crew are Spanish, or, Spanish descent, but it's in English, with English actors, etc. That's sort of what I mean in this case, but like I say, I do include Spanish films in it, and it's something we've been seeing over decades, slowly but surely kind of weaving their way onto our shores. And there is a definite feel to this type of film. If you think of a typical American, or American style, I suppose, of horror film, there's a certain few kind of tropes that you'll go to. You'll have the slasher film. That's a very quintessentially American thing these days now, and that itself has a set formula in an American style. Then you also have just the more modern take on horror, jump scares a go-go, which are just so annoying that I don't think anyone actually enjoys them these days. I think people just go along going, well, it's something, make me know that my heart's working. It's overdone now, and I'm glad that we are seeing a return to more slow-paced horror. But then you've got, the Japanese style, and much of the Asian style, around that part of the world, where, again, there's kind of slow burns and it's a lot more psychological. There's less like in-your-face gore, etc., and jump scares. It's more getting into your mind and making you just generally feel uneasy. Occasional moments of subtle hints at something in the background, that just are not there the next shot. This kind of thing is what I see as very much the kind of Asian style horror. But with Spanish horror, and we see it across the board, we can look at, I suppose, Pan's Labyrinth, although it's fantasy, horror, drama, period piece. We see it in this. We see it, I suppose, to a degree in Hereditary. Yeah, we see it quite a lot in Hereditary, actually. The Orphanage, all these kind of things have family as a core. It is very clear when you watch them, for as long as I've been interested in this style of film, you do notice these trends, and family is such a core element of it. And we've had that sometimes, in American style horrors, and I suppose it does come a lot in the Asian style as well, because there is a lot of importance, I suppose, of the family in that part of the world as well. But it is really noticeable in Spanish horror. The family as our analogue, as what we're rooting for in the film, is very important in these films. And they're all, in a way, family dramas. Whether that be trying to find a new family, like in The Orphanage, whether it be integration of families in Pan's Labyrinth, whether it be a family on the run in Marrowbone, whether it be a family falling apart in Hereditary. It's all about the family. And that's something I think that really draws me to it. Because as much as I enjoy, popcorn kind of films, turn your brain off, there's plenty of reviews on this channel even of stuff like Infinity War that's, just popcorn films. It's superhero movies, even if there's kind of depth to them, they are fun action films. Well, I wouldn't call Infinity War a fun action film, but you get the idea. There's a very specific kind of film, that if you just want to turn your brain off and go and watch, do it. And I fully respect that those exist, they have a place. But if I want something to really sit with me and to take me on a journey, I need to feel for the characters. I need to be in their minds. I need to feel for them throughout their ordeal, go with them throughout whatever they're doing. And that's what Spanish horror does for me. I can root for the final girl, till the cows come home. I can hope that the kind of nerdy lad will make it to the end. But I don't sympathise in the same way as when a family is at risk, or when people just want a nice family to live with, to go home to every day. And that's what Spanish horror gives me. I love it for it. It's its own beast, and I really hope that it doesn't get westernized too much. There was the moment in Hereditary that I mentioned in the review of that where, we have the jump scare, but it was one and it worked. It made sense in context. I don't think we're going to get the dumbing down of Spanish horror, and I love that. I can't wait to see what else comes out, because it is one of my favourite types. If we can get something that's a bit better paced than Marrowbone, but along similar lines, I'd be very happy. But that's really what I want to get to today. Spanish horror is family-led, and that's the appeal to me. But what are your thoughts? Do you enjoy Spanish-led horror? Do you prefer Asian horror? Do you not care? Either way, let me know in the comments below, but I'll be back next week with something entirely different. So until then, thanks for watching, and take care.